See What I Can Do. An Introduction to Differences by John Roberts. Molly and Gillian are walking to school with their friends. They're talking about the things they enjoy. I love playing music, Molly says, pointing to her cello. One of the other girls points to Molly's hands. They look a little different from other children's. But how can you play? The girl asks. Molly smiles. I might look different, but that doesn't mean I can't do things. I just have my own special way of doing them. Gillian nods. That's like me, with dance. My legs are different lengths, and I have to wear a special shoe to help me walk properly. But that doesn't stop me from competing. I've won lots of awards for my dancing. Wow, says her friend. I never knew you could do so much. Molly grins. When I'm older, I want to be a teacher, so I can help teach children about limb differences. I want everyone to know that being different doesn't mean you can't do anything you want. There are so many ways to talk. Isabella, Axel and Christopher are building with blocks. Axel stacks his blocks as high as a tower. One falls to the ground and makes a loud bang, but Axel doesn't notice. I don't like loud sounds and bright lights, Axel explains. They scare me and make it hard for me to concentrate. That's why I wear headphones. They help block out the noise. Isabella nods. I love being around people, but I find it difficult to talk with them. As she speaks, Isabella moves her hands. She uses Makaton, a form of sign language. I try my best to talk, but sometimes my words don't come out right. That's why I use my signs. They help to make sure I'm understood. But I do want to communicate better. I like to practice words when I'm on my own at home. I hope one day they'll be as clear as my signs. Nearby, Christopher builds a rocket ship. He pretends to be an astronaut. Christopher doesn't talk with words at all. He uses pictures and cards when he wants to say something. Isabella, Axel and Christopher are autistic. You can't always tell if someone is autistic. Many autistic people find it difficult to communicate with people and connect with the world around them. But they keep trying every day. Try saying the word autism. Words can be tricky. Bradley and Hunter love playing football. Okay, everyone, get in, formation. Bradley calls to his friends. He tries to smile, but he knows he didn't say the word correctly. Do you mean formation? One of his friends asks. Bradley nods. I have dyslexia, Bradley explains. That means I have trouble with numbers and letters. My brain flips them round. It feels a bit like brain scramble. Same here, says Hunter. When I'm reading a book, the letters all dance around the page. If I have to read aloud, I take a deep breath before I start. I take my time when I'm reading, and when I finish, I smile. Dyslexia, Bradley's friend, is a bit confused. Isn't that just about reading letters? Bradley shakes his head. Most people think that, but dyslexia is more than just reading. I struggle with saying big words, and I have difficulty spelling and writing. Sometimes I find it really hard finding the right words to say, Hunter adds. Me too, but I'm working on it, says Bradley proudly. I have a strong imagination, and I love coming up with new stories and ideas, even if expressing them is hard. When I'm older, I want to be a film director. Then everyone will get to hear what I have to say. Try saying dyslexia. Paying too much attention. Jaden and Elsie love performing. I have a lot of energy, says Jaden. I absolutely love telling funny and colourful stories. But sometimes all that energy gets me in trouble, particularly in school. I find it difficult to sit still and concentrate on my schoolwork, and I talk all the time. Elsie nods. A lot of people think I can't pay attention or sit still for very long. They think I'm being naughty and trying to cause trouble, but I'm not. The problem is I pay too much attention. I see every detail, hear every sound, and pay attention to them all at once. With so much in my brain, I sometimes forget what I'm doing, or I pay attention to the wrong things. Jaden and Elsie have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD for short. Someone with ADHD might find it hard concentrating and controlling their body, so might move around a lot. It's tough, says Jaden. Sometimes I feel like Sonic the Hedgehog, always running at top speed and never stopping to do one thing. I know what you mean, says Elsie. Some days I wish I could slow down and act like a turtle. Giggling, the girls get on all fours. Who says we can't be turtles? Jaden says. Last one to the wall wins. Say ADHD. That little bit extra. Sadie, Summer and Lee are in the hall. They're pretending to be ballet dancers. I'm smaller than my friends, says Sadie, but I'm super strong, and I love gymnastics. I love dancing and singing, says Summer. It can be hard for me to do all the moves because my muscles are still getting stronger, but I know one day I'll be a really great dancer. Lee laughs. My friends think I'm pretty cool because I have a superpower. I can make even the grumpiest people smile, and my hugs are the best. Sadie, Summer and Lee have Down's syndrome. That means their chromosomes are different. Chromosomes are the body's building blocks. Everyone has them, but people with Down's syndrome have an extra one. That makes their bodies develop differently. Lee adds, Mum says having an extra chromosome makes me who I am. She says it makes me special. And even better, she says, it gives her more of me to love. Try saying Down syndrome. Lots of snot. Ashley is browsing the internet on her school computer. She is showing her friends a website called cystic fibrosis. Cystic fibrosis is a disease that affects Ashley's lungs and makes it hard for her to digest food. I love doing all the things my friends love to do, Ashley says, but I struggle with breathing and breaking down mucus. That means snot. Ooh, says Ashley's friend. Snot? Ashley nods. I get sick very easily, which means lots of snot. For me to stay healthy, it's important for my friends to wash their hands so they don't spread germs to me. Ashley's friend smiles. I'm glad to know that. What else can you do to stay healthy? Well, my body has difficulty breaking down nutrients from food, so I have to make sure that I eat the right things. That means I have to eat a lot of fatty foods, like nuts and cheese, says Ashley. But hey, it could be worse. After all, who doesn't like cheese? Try saying cystic fibrosis. Super fast and flying. Bryson is in the lunchroom. His teacher, Miss Black, is helping him eat his cheese sandwich. Bryson has muscular dystrophy. Even though he looks like everyone else, his body is different. I'm not as strong as other boys my age, Bryson says, between mouthfuls. That's because my muscles keep getting weaker instead of getting stronger. I get tired a lot too, and my muscular dystrophy affects my balance. I used to love riding my bike, but I had to stop because I kept falling off. That must be hard, says Miss Black. It is. I just want to be like my friends, and when you have muscular dystrophy, it slows you down. I use a wheelchair, and I'm learning to go super fast, but I can't always do what my friends do. I never give up trying, though. And there's one thing I can do no matter what: travel. I love travelling with my parents to different places around the world, meeting new people and learning their cultures and what they understand about muscular dystrophy. Try saying muscular dystrophy. Movement and song. Thandy and Nora are in the park singing. I like singing, says Thandy, but what I really love is swimming. If I could, I would live in the big blue sea. I would play with dolphins and sea turtles and collect seashells. Well, I love walking, says Nora, but I struggle with steps, pavements and stairs. Using my hands is hard too. Holding a pencil or a spoon is tough. So is tying my shoes. I don't let it get me down, though, and I'm doing physical exercises to get stronger. Me too, says Thandy. I have trouble sitting up and moving around on my own, so I use a wheelchair to help me. I need to do regular exercises so that my muscles can become strong and I can learn to move my body better. Thandy and Nora have cerebral palsy. For most people, their brains tell their body what to do and when to do it, says Nora. But cerebral palsy jumbles those messages and makes it hard for me to walk, talk, or eat. If someone sees me sitting on my own, I always hope they will say hi and ask me to play, Thandy says. Nora smiles and nods. It's nice to have a friend who understands. Try saying cerebral palsy. Hearing with your eyes. The school bell rings and the children go into the gym to play basketball. Marianne, Anthony and Louis walk to the front of the line. That way they can look back and see people talking. All three have hearing loss. That means they have difficulty hearing the world around them. When I was very young, I used a hearing aid, said Marianne. I learnt to talk too. Now I'm totally deaf, so I use sign language. I make shapes with my hands to talk to other people. Anthony touches his hearing aid. Sometimes my friends talk too fast. They get mad when I ask them to repeat themselves. I wish they could talk clearly and slowly and not scream at me. Louis nods. When I first started school, I had a hard time. People thought I was being rude and not paying attention. Then the doctor realised I was deaf in one ear. I've learnt that if you speak clearly and face me, I can read your lips. I'm glad we're able to walk at the front of the line, says Marianne. That way we can see people's lips. When people don't talk in front of me, I get very sad. I cannot join in the fun. It makes me happy when we play together and I can understand what people are saying. Sight and sound. Mina is in the music room, playing a piano. I love coming to school. Music is my favourite lesson, she tells her friends. I'm particularly good at playing the piano and wind instruments. I have low vision, which means I can't see very well, but my ears work just fine. That's why I like music. I love listening to all the beautiful sounds the instruments make. I'm learning to read large print, says Adela. I use a magnifier, which helps make the words bigger. My computer in school is great. It has a text reader that reads the words out loud so I can hear them. I can't see as much as other kids, but with a little help, I can do anything I want, says Mina. I love climbing trees, playing sport, reading about unicorns, chasing my brother and drawing rainbows, Adela interrupts with a giggle. I have some sight left, and I'm getting the most out of it. Enjoy what you love. Chloe, Cammy and Indy are in the playground. All around them, the other kids run and jump. But the three girls can't join in with them, as they all have spina bifida. This means there's a gap in their spine. Indy says, I don't like anyone pushing my wheelchair unless I'm super tired. But I do like to go as fast as I can, all by myself. Chloe agrees. Me too. Zooming down the hall is so much fun. But I love dancing and music even more. I can't walk, so I dance sitting on the floor. Cammy has a frame to help her walk. I struggle with running and climbing things. I know my brain is sending the right messages, but they keep getting lost on their way to my legs. But that's okay. There are lots of things I can do without my legs. I love writing stories, camping with my friends, and making things. Spina bifida never stops me from what I love doing, says Indy. If I could tell other children with spina bifida one thing, it would be to always keep doing what you love, says Chloe. You have this amazing story. Share it and help others. Try saying spina bifida. When things just stop. Lucas, Poppy and Leah are sitting in the shade, playing card games. Lucas, it's your turn, says Poppy. Lucas, are you listening? Lucas smiles. Sorry, I was looking at the trees. I hope I didn't scare you. Sometimes when it looks like I'm daydreaming, I'm really having a seizure. That means my brain freezes if it gets too busy. That happens to me because I have epilepsy. When I have a seizure, I stand up in class and walk round clapping my hands, Leah says. My seizures are called focal seizures. I don't always know what I'm doing when I have a seizure, but I do know I'm always tired afterwards and need to rest. I have tonic-clonic seizures, Poppy says. They make my body shake all over, and I often stop breathing. The name sounds a bit funny, but it can be pretty scary. Luckily, I have Finn, my super cool service dog. He goes everywhere with me. The problem is, people think he's a pet. I wish that people knew that you aren't supposed to pet service dogs when they're working. When you pet them, they stop helping their owner. That's when a seizure could happen, and I could be in real trouble. Leah says, when I grow up, I want to train service dogs, just like Finn. Try saying epilepsy. Splashing around. Olivia, Xavier and their friends are learning to swim. I love swimming and playing outside, says Olivia. But I get tired very easily and have to rest. If I get too tired, I could bump into something. I bump into things all the time, Olivia's friend says. It's not that big a deal. It is for me, Olivia explains. My bones are super fragile. If I bump into something, they could break. Once I got a cold and coughed so hard, I broke a rib. Wow, Olivia's friend says. I never knew that. Xavier nods. Olivia and I have brittle bone disease. That means our bones can break really easily. It's so hard. I'm smaller than my friends and I have rods in my legs to support my bones. I have to be really careful, says Olivia. That's why I have Betty, my service dog. She picks things up if I drop something accidentally. She's always there if I get upset or I start to worry about hurting myself. Xavier grins. Having brittle bones is tough, but it doesn't stop us from having fun. Kicking up some water, he splashes his friends. See? I do hope you enjoyed my attempt to read John Roberts' brilliant book, See What I Can Do. There are two main messages. One is to help all of us understand some of the challenges that young people face, and even more importantly, to help them cope with it, and as nearly all of them in those lovely stories said, to enjoy life to its fullest. Thanks for listening.